Hello everyone, welcome to CareerDeed and myself Mohan. At this session also we are going to discuss some of the previous year Wipro quantitative aptitude questions. So I have included the previous session links in description. If you haven't watched, please have a look at it. Now question number 1. If 4:6 is the ratio of number of girls and boys in a computer coaching class, if 50% of girls and 40% of boys are degree holders, then the percentage of the candidates who are non-degree holder is dash. Okay, in a computer coaching center we have girls and boys in the ratio 4:6. Now we don't know what is the total count of students in the coaching center, so we can assume any value. For my convenience I am taking totally we have 100 students in the coaching center. This is my assumption. You can take any value. Okay, now we have girls and boys in the ratio 4:6. So totally we have 4 plus 6 10 parts. So this 10 parts is 100 students, right? So if 10 parts is 100 student, one part will be 100 by 10 10. So in boys we have 6 into 10 60 boys, and in girls we have 4 into 10 40 girls. Now if you look at the second line, 50% of the girls and 40% of the boys are degree holders. Now out of these 40 girls, 50% are degree holders. What is 50% of 40? That is half of 40 is 20. That is 50%. And remaining 20 are non-degree holders. And if you take boys, 40% of the boys are degree holders. So remaining 60% will be non-degree holders, right? So what is 40% of 60? So 60 into 40 by 100, right? So 40% of 60 is 60 into 40 by 100. You get 24 candidates who are degree holders. So remaining 36 people, 60 minus 24, 36 people, they are non-degree holders. Now our question is, what is the percentage of candidates? That is total candidates who are non-degree holders. So 20 plus 36, we get 56. So out of 100 candidates, we have 56 candidates who are non-degree holders. So that is 56%. So totally we have 56% people who are non-degree holders in the coaching center. Now question number 2. The time shown by the analog clock at the moment is 11 am. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 hours later it will show the time as dash. We know for every 24 hours it will show the same time, right? For example, if the time is 11 am now, after 24 hours it will show the same 11 am. Now in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 hours, we have to identify how many 24 hours are there. Then we have to look at the remainder. You have to add it with 11 am, you will get the answer. Since the number is little big, I am dividing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 by 2 first. This is for my convenience. So while dividing by 2, I am getting, okay, I am writing this separately. 6 times 12, 1 times 2, 7 times 14, no, 2 times 4, 3 times, 9 times, 4 times 5. Now we can divide it by 12 because already I divided by 2. Now I have to divide it by 12. When I divide it by 12, 5 times 60, 17 times, 1 time 12, 52, 4 times 48, again 4 times 48, 0. Now if I bring 3 and 9 here, so I have to add 1 0 and it will go for 3 times 36. So 34, 2 times 24. Since I don't have place here, 34 minus 24 it is 10. Now I can bring this 5 here. So it is 8 into 12, 96. Now look at the remainder. I am getting the remainder 9. Right. Now please don't take 9 hours after 11 am because already you have divided by 2, right? So multiply this with 2. So 9 into 2 you get 18. So actually 18 should be the remainder if you have divided by 24. Since I divided by 12, I am getting only 9. Right, so 9 into 2 you get 18. So if you directly divide this value by 24, you will get 18 only, right? So 18 hours after 11 am. So what is 18 hours after 11 am? We get 5 am. right? So if you count manually, you will get 5 a.m. So 18 hours after 11 a.m. is 5 a.m. So answer for this question is 5 a.m. Right, the process is so simple. Just you have to divide the given number by 25. You have to look at the remainder. You have to add it with the respective time. You will get the answer. Right, now moving to question number 3. The time shown by the clock at a moment is 8 a.m. Then the respective time of after and before 4 to 896 hours is dash. So again we can divide this by 24, right? Try to look at the remainder. Now the time is 8 a.m. While dividing 4 to 896 by 24, you get 1 times 24, 18, and 7 times you get 168. So it is 20, and we have 9. So 8 times 8 into 24, we get 192. We get 17. When you bring 6 here, so 7 times you get 168. So we have the remainder 8. Now time is 8 a.m. They are asking of after and before. So 8 hours after 8 a.m. will be 4 p.m. So 8 hours before 8 a.m. will be 12 a.m. So answer for this question is 12 a.m. and 4 p.m. And we have option A, right? So they are asking after first and before second. So it is 4 p.m. and 12 a.m. So that is option A. This becomes our answer. Hope you understood how to solve this problem. Now moving to question number 4. The minimum number of digits required to form every number which is between 900 to 9000. So you have to consider this 900 to 9000. So we have to frame a number. So from 900 to 9000 we will get 4-digit number, right? So we have to find all the possible, that is the minimum number of digits required to form every number from 900 to 9000. Okay, if it is 900 to 9000, we have a shortcut. So 900 to 9000, the last place can be filled in 10 ways, right? So either you can put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So last place can be filled in 10 ways, and 10th place can also be filled in 10 ways, right? For example, 910, 920, 999 or 8429, right? So in this way you can fill the 10th place with all the 10 numbers. Again you can fill the 1000th place with all the 10 numbers, but you have to fill the first place with only 9 numbers. See, you can put 1 here or 2 here or 3 here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. You can't fix 0 here, because if you fix 0 here it will become a 3-digit number. Now what is the condition? The number have to lie from 900 to 9000, but you can fix 9 numbers here. You can fix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So totally you included how many minimum number of digits? 9 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. So totally you included 39 numbers, right? So answer for this question is 39. This becomes your answer. So you need 39 minimum number of digits to form every number between 900 to 9000. Hope you understood the problem. Now moving to question number 5. If the sum of n terms of two series of arithmetic progression are in the ratio 5n plus 4 is to 9n plus 6, find the ratio of their 13th term. Okay, assume we have two terms. So the first term is, first arithmetic progression is a1, a2, a3, a4 up to an, and we have second arithmetic progression a1, a2, a3 up to an, so small a and capital A. Now if you look at the difference between each number in the first series, the difference be d1, right? So it is common difference. So the common difference between each digit in the series is d1, and here it is d2, right? So common difference is d2. Now it is given the sum of n terms of two series of arithmetic progression are in the ratio 5n plus 4 and 9n plus 6. We know how to find the sum of n terms, right? We discussed in arithmetic progression. I have included the link of arithmetic progression in description. right? So if you want to gain knowledge, you can look at the video. Now, how to find sum of n terms of the arithmetic progression? You have a formula. So the formula is n by 2 into 2 into a plus n minus 1 into d, right? Now if you look the first arithmetic progression, a is nothing but first term, so first term here is a1 and d is the common difference, so common difference is d1, right? Now if you take the second series, you can write it as n by 2 into capital A1 plus n minus 1 into difference is d2, and the ratio is 5n plus 4 by 9n plus 6. Now you can cancel n by 2 and n by 2. Now you can take this 2 outside, right? So even if you take this 2 outside, you can write it as 2 into a plus a1 plus n minus 1 divided by 2 into d divided by d1, right? So this is actually d1. 2 into capital A1 plus n minus 1 divided by 2 into d2 equal to 5n plus 4 divided by 9n plus 6. You can cancel 2 and 2. Now what actually you have to find is the ratio of 13th term of both the series, that is in first progression you have to find a13, in second progression you have to find a13, that is a13 and a13 you have to find. Now if you find a13, so a13 can be written as a13 is equivalent to, that is to find the nth term, you know the formula is a plus n minus 1 into d, right? So I am writing separately, it is a plus n minus 1 into d. So this is the formula to find the nth term. So here 13th term is a13 is equivalent to t of 13 equivalent to a1 plus n minus 1, that is 13 minus 1 is 12 into difference is d1, right? Now if you found the n value, you can easily find the ratio of 13th term. So you can compare, you know, this with this value, right? So you can compare a1 plus 12 d1 with this term, right? So when you equate it, you get n minus 1 by 2 into d. So where a1 and a1 get cancelled, when you take it to left hand side or right hand side, a1 cancel. Similarly d1 and d1 get cancelled. So n minus 1 divided by 2 equal to 12. So when you equate it, you get n value equivalent to 25. Now you found the value of n is 25, right? If you put the value of 25 here and here, you can easily find the 13th term. The reason is if you substitute 25 here, so 25 minus 1 you get 24. 24 by 2 you get 12d, right? So a1 plus 12d. What you exactly want is a1 plus 12d, right? Here also you have to find a1 plus 12d2, right? So if you substitute 25 here, you will get a1 plus 12d1 divided by a1 plus 12d2. So instead of this, you can substitute 12 straight away here, right? So 25 straight away here. So 5 into 25 plus 4, you get 129 divided by 9 into 25 plus 6, you get 231. So this is what the ratio of a1 plus 12 d1 divided by a1 plus 12 d2, that is 13th term of the arithmetic progression, right? I have included the link in description. If you want to look in detail, you can watch the videos. Now moving to question number 6. Find the difference of the minimum number of numbers required to form every numbers from 1 to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 to 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, from 1 to 1, 2, 3, 4, we require how many digits, right? So it should be a 4-digit number, right? So from 1 to 1, 2, 3, 4, so it is first digit to 4th digit, right? So we need how many minimum number of digits to fill this. So last place definitely can be filled in 10 ways, and 10th place 10 ways, 100th place 10 ways, but the 1000th place should be filled in only one way. The reason is you can't fill it with 0, but you can fill it with 1 alone. So you can't fill it with 2 because it will become 2000s. But the maximum value here is only 1. So this can be filled in 31 ways. 31 numbers are required. And next 1 2 4 2 4 3 2 1. Now if you take a 4-digit number, right, so from 1 to 4 3 2 1, so the last place can be filled in again 10 ways, and tens place definitely 10 ways, hundreds place 10 ways, and thousands place only 4 ways. So you can't fill the 1000 place with 0 because it will become a 3-digit number. You can fill it with 1 2 3 and 4 because you can't fill it with 5. The maximum limit is only 4. So this can be filled in 34 digits with 34 digits. So what is the difference? Because they are asking the difference, right? So the difference here is 3. So answer for this question is option D. Hope you understood the problem. Now moving to question number 7. A person was fined for exceeding the speed limit by 10 km per hour. Another person was also fined for exceeding the same speed limit by twice the same. If the second person was traveling at a speed of 35 km per hour, find the speed limit. So the problem is so simple. So again, if you read the question, definitely you will get the answer. A person was fined for exceeding the speed limit by 10 km per hour. So the first person exceeds the speed limit by 10 km per hour. Another person was also fined for exceeding the same speed limit by twice the same. So if the second person was traveling at a speed of 35 km per hour, so he is actually traveling with the speed of 35 km per hour, and the second person is exceeding the speed limit by twice the same. That means he is exceeding the speed limit by 20 km per hour. That means the second person is exceeding the speed limit of the first person by twice the time. Now what we have to find? You have to find the speed limit, right? So 35 minus 20, you get 15 km per hour. So actually the first person traveled with the speed of 25 km per hour, so that he is exceeding 10 km per hour, and second person is traveling with the speed of 35 km per hour, so he is exceeding twice the speed limit, 20 km per hour. So actual speed limit is only 15 km per hour. That is option D. The problem is so simple, right? Okay, now next question. The difference between compound and simple interest on a certain sum for 2 years at the rate of 8% per annum is 80. What is this sum? So we have discussed similar kind of problems in simple and compound interest itself. So we are not going to use any formula. So if you take simple interest, in simple interest for 1 year, if it is 8%, for 2 years that will be 16% each, right? For compound interest, if it is 8% per year, for 2 years that will be 16.64% each. We know how it happened. So it's so simple, 8 into 2, 16. So 8 square, you get 64. So it is 0.64. So this is the actual shortcut for compound interest for 2 years. Now the difference between simple and compound interest is 0.64. So this 0.64 is given as 80 rupees. Now to find the sum is always 100%, right? So to find the sum, it is 100%. Now cross multiply, you get the value of x equivalent to 12,500. This becomes your answer. I have included the link of simple and compound interest in description. So if you want to check how the simple and compound interest different works, please have a look at it. Now question number 9. The ratio between two numbers is 5:7. Okay, so we have two numbers. So let the first number and second number be x and y. So the ratio is 5 and 7. And the product is 560. So we can take the product xy as 560. Now the difference between the two numbers is dash. So you have two equations. Now if you substitute the first equation and second equation, you will get the x value and y value separately. Now you can write x equal to 5y divided by 7, and you can put the value here. So if you put the value there, you get 5y square by 7 equivalent to 560. Now cancel it, you get 112. So you get value of y square equal to 112 into 7, right? So 112 into 7, you get a value. So the value of y will be equivalent to 28. So if the value of y equivalent to 28, so you can put the value here in the first equation, right? So if you put it in first equation, you get x by 28 equivalent to 5 by 7. Now cancel it, you get 4. So value of x is equivalent to 20. Now they are asking the difference between the two numbers, right? So what is the difference between two numbers? You get 8. So answer for this question is 8. So the problem is so simple. So it's a direct application question. Now moving to last question. After spending 2/3 of his salary on rent and food items and 1/4 of the remaining on transportation, Rajesh had 6,000 rupees with him. How much did he pay on transportation? Okay, now instead of taking x and y, right? So instead of assuming a variable, we can assume a number. Assume Rajesh is getting 300 rupees as the total salary, right? So total salary is 300 rupees. Now after spending 2/3 of his salary, so how much he will spend on rent and food items? So it is 2/3, right? So what is 2/3 of 300? You get 200 rupees. That means Raj spent 200 rupees on rent and food items. So remaining he will have 100 rupees. And 1/4 of the remaining he is spending on transportation. What is 1/4 of 100? We get 25. So remaining he will have 100 minus 25, only 75 rupees. Now Rajesh has only 6,000 with him. Now Rajesh has only 6,000 with him means you have to equate the 75 to 6,000 because now he is having only 75, right? Now you can equate it to 6,000. Now our question is how much did he pay on transportation? So transportation means only 1/4, right? So we have to find only 1/4. So what is 1/4 of so 1/4 is nothing but 25, right? So what is 1/4 of the amount, right? So if 75 is 6,000, then 25 will be only 2,000. So this becomes our answer, right? So the problem is so simple because 100 into 1 by 4 is 25, right? So 1/4 is nothing but 25. So here 25 is nothing but 2,000. Now instead of assuming x and y values, so we can keep any values for our convenience, and if you work out it, then you can easily get the answer, right? This becomes our answer. Hope you understood all the problems of this session, right? So in upcoming session I will try to add some more problems related to Wipro. Until that, stay connected with CareerD Training Solutions and have a look at all the videos that I have included in description so that you will get a good understanding on how AMCAT pattern works. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.